Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. It's time to do a Q&A. Since December 28th, I've been running a Q&A on my channel, and now it's time to respond to them. So this is in thanks for 200 subs. I also opened this up on Twitter. I have to say, I've got a few questions. I thought I was going to, well, I guess I'm probably just a little bit biased, aren't I? But I've got enough to be going on with it. I'm glad that all of you guys who got involved. And if you have missed it, then I'm sure I'll do one again when we get to another subscriber milestone, probably 500, I'm thinking. Anyway, so these questions are going to come mixed from both YouTube and from Twitter. Predominantly actually from Twitter. But let's have a look, shall we? So this one comes from Paul Meredith. My Q&A, please, thank you for the videos you do. Well, thank you for watching and leaving this comment. When all war is over in the 40k galaxy, which 40k race will rule the galaxy in your opinion? Well, I see it going one of two ways, or possibly three ways. Option one is the Tyranids eat everything and then move on. That's possible. At which point, the Necrons win. Because the Tyranids will leave, there will be no reflection left in the warp for the demons and chaos to manifest, and therefore the only race that Tyranids seem to leave alone at all is Necrons. Therefore Necrons emerge and survive, with the possible inclusion of any Dark Eldar or Eldar in the webway who may also emerge, and the whole cycle sort of starts again. So if the Tyranids eat everything, I think Necrons, with the possible exception of it could be Dark Eldar or Eldar. But the Dark Eldar would also die off because they would have no more pain to feed off of. So I think probably Necrons if the Tyranids eat everything. If the Tyranids are stopped, then it's harder to call. But I do think the Imperium will lose. No matter what scenario we run, I do think the Imperium loses. And I hate to say that as an Imperial player. So I think it could be Chaos. It could be Necrons again. So yeah, my probable bet is Necrons, because the Tyranids will leave them alone, and if Chaos do destroy the Imperium, then Chaos will have no reflection, and will eventually die off, as will the Dark Eldar, because they will have less torture subtext. Of course, there's the possibility of the Orcs as well, if they can get this Great War together under Gazkul, which I read about in the New Orc Codex. So there are many, many variables, but my money is actually on Necrons, because they are not going to get eaten by Tyranids for whatever reason. Which Primarch is your favourite and why? If you'd asked me this a month ago, I would tell you it's Konrad Curze, Night Haunter, because, oh my god, his model and his background are awesome. If you haven't seen the Konrad Curze Horus Heresy model, go and check it out. It's brilliant. His artwork really got to me, and I thought that was a really cool, badass piece of artwork. And his background is completely different to every other Primarch. He landed on Nostromo, which was a very criminal-based world, and became basically the boss of this world, this crime boss. And I got my information wrong in my Horus Heresy video. When I said the Emperor came to take him home, that his name is Konrad Curze, I was right. But Konrad Curze replied with, "My name is Night Haunter, and I know full well what you intend for me." Because Curze was known as someone who could see into the future. He knew he was going to be assassinated by the Kalidus Assassinum Shen. So that guy seems really cool. But I've been playing a lot of the new Horus Heresy iOS game, Drop Assault, and I've kind of picked up a penchant for Death Guard. I've always liked the whole Grim Reaper aspect of the Death Guard, but I've had more of a look into Mortarion. Oh my god. His model as well, I think he's got a model, is brilliant. The whole Grim Reaper aspect with the scythe, and he breathes poison gas. He cannot breathe air as it is, because his system just cannot take air. So he has to breathe poison gases in order to survive as a Primarch. He then becomes a Demon Primarch, ruler of the Plague Planet. But I think I also like Death Guard Mortarion because it runs into Typhus. I'm a Loyalist Marine player, but I like Typhus. I think he's hilariously brilliant, and I love the whole concept of 40k zombies. I made a whole game on it, for crying out loud. I want to do a 40k zombies bat rep actually, so I might do that this year. So I'm going to say Mortarion, but Nighthorn to Conrad Kurz comes a very close second. And then possibly... Ooh, I didn't think about this. Probably Rogel Dawn. I don't know why, but I like Rogel Dawn and the Imperial Fist, and I have no reason for why. I just do. Probably because I like Black Templars. That's it. And the other one that comes on YouTube, I only had 2 people comment on YouTube, which is slightly odd. I had more questions on Twitter than YouTube. But this is Commissar Warwick, who obviously everybody knows Warwick, who follows me. And he's asked 3 questions. 1, favourite Pokemon from the original 150. Now, if you didn't watch the Q&A video for whatever reason, I am a massive Pokemon nerd. I love Pokemon, and I've been playing it since I was 8. It was my first video game I ever owned was Pokemon Ruby. I'm not kidding. So my actual bias on Pokemon is leaning towards the Hoenn region. But from the original 150, or 151 as I prefer to call it when you add Mew in, again, this is something I wouldn't know the answer to until about a month ago when I actually got my DS. And I did some research into the new Mega Evolutions. And I came across Mega Beedrill. Yes, Beedrill has a Mega Evolution, and its ability doubles the power of same type moves, making this thing with its insane attack and speed stat the ultimate sweeper. And so I went into my Pokemon X and Y, and I trained up a Beedrill to whatever level it's at. I think it's at level 60. Gave it all same type moves like Poison Jab and X Scissor. And now I've traded it over into my Omega Ruby, which has the Beedrillite in it, so I can get Omega Beedrill and try it out. It's my gimmick Pokemon, but I've come to appreciate the whole look of Mega Beedrill. I don't like Beedrill. Beedrill drives me up the wall, but Mega Beedrill is brilliant. I think it's really cool, and I've come to like Beedrill. Don't really know why, but I do. So I'm going to go with Beedrill, specifically Mega Beedrill. Failing that, probably... Oof, I don't really think that far, but I prefer Blastoise. I really like the whole Squirtle family. So I'm actually going to give it to Squirtle, because the Squirtle Squad. If you haven't seen the Pokemon anime episode with the Squirtle Squad, go and do it. It's brilliant. Seriously, it's just a bunch of Squirtles in sunglasses being cops, and it's hilarious to watch. At least it was for my 10-year-old self when I watched it the first time. Most hilarious moment in 40k. This one goes back, way, way back to when I first started playing Orcs. Now, I was playing with Edwin, who you've never met. He's out of the hobby now. He's gone to another college. He plays D&D, traitor. But he had a Dark Angels army, and he ran Samael and Belial. Yes, he ran the Deathwing Raven Wing combo. Way before it was cool. This was in the old Dark Angels Codex, and I was on the old Orc Codex. And Samael he had Samuel's model, and I was really envious of this. But Samael is quite a big model, and if you don't remember how it looks, it has the sword that goes sort of like that, if you remember. Now, this was in the days of True Line of Sight, which still exists now. It was just turned 5th edition. And his scout, with a heavy bolter, had drawn a line of sight to my Orc truck that went right between Samael's head and Samael's arm. And we had a long, long laugh and debate. It was a good-natured laugh about it, saying that if he rolls a 1 to hit, should it hit Samael? And in the spirit of good-natured nonsense, I think my codex nearly got flushed down the toilet at that point. Yeah, I'm not joking about that either. This day was brilliant. But we said, all right, on a 1 to hit, it hit Samael. Fine. And it hit Samael, who admittedly hadn't been wounded at this point. But we just played this out in my narrative head, just pictured this scout firing and it just strafing and pinging off of Samael's pauldron or something, as Samael just looking around at this scout with an absolute death stare, just eyeballing him, and it had me in stitches. Close second would probably be when my shiny new battle wagon blew up. Now, back in 5th edition, you could kill a vehicle with a glancing hit. It only did a -2 modifier to the damage table because hull points didn't exist. For those of you who haven't been playing who only played since 6th, hull points didn't exist, and glancing hits did a -2 modifier to the vehicle damage table, and you could blow up on a 6. So my open-topped battle wagon ran full pelt into a Tau Devilfish. I'm thinking I'm just going to smash this thing aside. I glanced the Devilfish and I think I shook it or something. He then rolled a 6, meaning my battle wagon got glanced. I'd gone at very high speed. He was about armor 11 and a tank. So somehow he got a strength 8 hit out of it, because I think I had a red paint job or something. And he glanced the front of my battle wagon and then rolled a 6. Now when you apply the modifiers, that means it goes from -2 to a 4, which was immobilized, then add 1 because it's open top, meaning it was wrecked. So my shiny new battle wagon that had just, rolled off the paint station that weekend, got wrecked on turn 2 by ramming a devilfish. I was so angry. The Tau player I was playing, it wasn't Kieran, it was called Matthew. He was just dying of laughter, and I was just so angry. But in hindsight, it's hilarious to remember that. I haven't had that many hilarious moments more recently. I think my best memories are the first games I played when I didn't take it all that seriously, you know? Because now as I get older, I start to play the game more to win. I make competitive lists rather than my gimmicky Speed Freaks lists I ran way, way back with Wazdaka Gutsmech, if anybody remembers him. And yeah, those are my hilarious days. And this question is sort of a double-barrel question that I can't make head or tail of. What's your favourite 40k army, and why is it Imperial Guard? Are you answering my question? Are you asking me what my 40k army is, or why my favourite army is Imperial Guard? Because you're assuming I'm going to answer with Imperial Guard. And yes, I am going to answer with Imperial Guard. And if you want to see a full-length explanation, go and watch one of my videos where I did why I love the Imperial Guard for 40k Scribes contest for Christmas. I talked for about 10 minutes why I love the Imperial Guard. But in short, it's because they are us. They are the embodiment of humanity, standing firm and kicking ass against these badass, superhuman, xeno, heretic, traitor, demonic, all sorts of nonsense enemies. And they still stand firm and kick ass. Well, except when they're played by me because I suck. But anyway, I love the Imperial Guard for that reason. Plus, I can do whatever I want with my lists. I can take any list and call it a narrative list, but it's this sort of a regiment with this sort of armoured regiment detachment. Done. Plus, it has people like Commissar Commissar Yarrick, Ironhand Strachan, Creed, who is basically Churchill, which is actually quite prevalent considering it's 50 years since Winston Churchill died this week. So I might find an excuse to run Creed as sort of an honour to Winston Churchill, because I can. And we have the Baneblade, and I love Baneblades. I nearly gave it to my orcs, because I love my orcs. But the new codex broke my heart. The new orc codex just breaks my heart to know how much more nerfed it's got. Oh my days. It just got nerfed to all hell. I don't like the new orc codex at all. Yes, it's got stompers in it, but Gaskell's a lot of war now, and Pain Boys take up a HQ slot now, and Mob Rule, oh my god, don't start me on Mob Rule. I just don't like the new Orc Codex. I mean, it's probably better competitively, but some of the things that they did to it, like moving looters to heavy support, took them from a pretty much auto take to a sort of maybe never take. The new Gorkanaut and Morkanaut, basically the Gorkanaut sucks. The Morkanaut is okay, but the Gorkanaut sucks. And I still haven't found an excuse to run it yet because I just haven't felt the will to do it. Plus, they got rid of Wazdaka, and I hate that because Wazdaka is my guy. I converted 2 Wazdakas. Both of them, well, one of them has completely been torn apart. The other one, I think, is still in my box. I'll have to go and dig it up at some time and bring it out. But I just don't like that they nerfed him. They got rid of him entirely. And Zogwart's gone. And Grotznik lost his must charge the nearest unit gimmick, and Gaskell got moved, and Zagstruck became a HQ now, and some things I just don't like about that new Orc Codex. I could rant on for too long about that. So I'm going to give it to Imperial Guard for reasons I've stated many times over. And why is Imperial Guard? Well, you already know that. Thanks to congratulations, really appreciate it, and congratulations on making 200. Thank you, and that was for him getting 1,000 subs, by the way, which I really, you're probably like 1250 or something now, or some daft number. I'm gonna have a look actually. 1386. Wow, he's nearly at 1500. So if you haven't already, go and sub to work. Okay, to the second half of the Q&A, we're going to do a few questions from Twitter. Well, there's about 3 or 4 from here. I have to thank Cadian Shock for a couple of these. Actually, all of these, actually. Ironically, I think. I've looked up the hashtag that I used, and the only ones that come up are actually these. So, I'm going to have to run with that. If anyone has tweeted me using this hashtag, I apologize profusely that I can't find your tweet. I'm very sorry. Right, here we go. Imperial Guard castle deployment is obvious. What effective alternatives are that may throw an opponent and rethink his approach? So the castle deployment is basically where you just blob up and you sort of lock yourself in and say to your opponent, come at me. So you use buildings, you use defense lines. Think about building a castle. You have your defensive walls, you have your defensive buildings, you have your units manning the walls, and then your heavily armored support units coming on with shock and awe, or as just defensive emplacements. This is tough to counter because basically you've just got to run at a wall, and that's hard. Problem is with Guard is they are semi-mobile, but they die faster than I can click my fingers. I'm not joking. They die really, really fast. So you've got to find a way to make them live without exposing them and letting them be run down. You've got to keep the synergy between the squads for orders. So a possible recommendation, if you've got it, is Met Guard. So you could go lots of small squads, probably veterans, in chimeras armed with melters and plasmas that your opponent may not have prepared for. They may have prepared for a few tank busting weapons like las cannons, but they won't have enough to deal with an armoured wave of chimeras and Tauroxes coming right at you. And if you add in a few shock units like Taurox Primes carrying Scions and a couple of Russes, your opponent just won't know where to point their big guns, and all their small guns will be completely invalidated. So that's one approach you could try. You could try a reserve base list. So I think he may have lost the rule, but Gunnery Sergeant Harker used to allow you to outflank. I don't think he does anymore, which sucks. But using deep striking units, flyers, and dropping units out of flyers is a possible option. Any outflanking units you do happen to have, I know Ratlings do, but you wouldn't want to anyway. It sucks that they got rid of Al Rahem, because Al Rahem used to be able to give an entire platoon outflank, and this made a very reserve-based guard list semi-feasible. But it's harder to do now. They took a lot of the funny various, like the wave attacks of Commander Chenkov is gone, and the outflanks of Al Rahem have gone. So some of the neat little gimmicks have gone. One option you could try is possibly a rush list that basically does what Tyranids do. Runs up in your face with bunches of fearless blobs led by priests and Lord Commissars and Primaris Psychers possibly, to give out some invulns through forewarning, and you blob up and you run at your opponent's face and you basically say, can you kill everything before I hit you? The problem with this tactic that Guard have that Tyranids can counter is that Tyranids have monsters. Guard don't. So honestly, I mean, when I play with my Guard at the club where I use proper terrain, I prefer to hide my command units away. I prefer to put them in vehicles so they can still issue orders like chimeras, and hide in buildings. I am honestly guilty of using the castle deployment. So in terms of an alternative build you could try as a mech build, in terms of an alternative deployment for a typical foot guard list, it's hard because your men need that cover save or they just die. And that's the problem. I don't really know how to answer that, because beating a typical I'm going to run with Marine list is hard with Guard, because you can't rush them down because they're stronger than you and they have AP5 guns. You need a cover save. But then you have to skulk around through cover and you get slowed down anyway, and that defeats the point. I think a mech list. If I'm going to give an effective alternative you can try is a mech list. Give it a run, see what happens. Where will you be in 10 years? I have absolutely no idea. What I can possibly give you is where I'll be in 5. So my A-level exams are this year, and all going well, I will go to Manchester University to study physics with study in Europe, meaning I will spend a year in France, because I'm studying A-level French and I have a thing for learning French, and so I would happily spend a year in France. And that's my primary plan, to go to Manchester, study physics, and do a year in France, and be taught in French how to do physics. That's my plan. The backup plan is I go to Leeds University, which offers me a pure physics course, and I can probably take a year and add it on to my course instead. Both of these I have offers for. They are set in stone now. I just need to get the grades, which could be fun. After that, I'm hoping to do possibly a PhD in physics into nanotechnological research, medical nanotech. If you don't know what a nanometer is, take a millimeter, to get a ruler, take 1 millimeter on your ruler and divide it by 1,000,000. Have you done that? Now you know what a nanometer is. And that's about the size of an atom. And that's what I'm hoping to do, is mess around with this all new nanotechnology which we've been coming up with, and possibly with artificial intelligence for all the controversy that that's brought up. I'd love to work with AI. I'd love to be able to do that, but I'm not a computer programmer. So medical nanotech research as part of a PhD. That's my plan. After that, well, we'll see where life takes me, I guess. Hopefully I'll do something with my language. Hopefully I'll do something with my physics. Heck, I may even end up teaching physics in French for all I know. But we'll find out. I can't answer 10 because 10 I'll be 28 and God knows where I'll be when I'm 28. But when I'm 21, I'm hoping to be at Manchester or Leeds University studying physics. Or in France. One more. I'm just going to scroll an absolute ton back up my feed now. Where is it? Where is it? If you had to step into the shoes of a Warhammer 40k Imperium character, who would it be and why? Imperium character. Right, so that opens me up the Inquisition, Imperial Knights, Grey Knights, normal Space Marines, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Imperial Guard, Military Tempestors-ish, and technically Sisters of Battle, I suppose. Yeah, Sisters of Battle counts. Death Watch, which is sort of a faction of Space Marines that work for the Inquisition. So there are a lot of options available. Of a character, I'm assuming you mean an actual person, a famous individual. Oof. I really like. I'm an armchair general. Honestly, I am not strong. I am physically weak, but my brain is most of the time sharp as a tack. So I'm an armchair general. So I would love to be somebody like Osaka Creed, let's go with, because he's a genius, and who doesn't want to be a genius with a badass gun, which is the snub-nosed, big-ass guy, awesome protector, that being Jaren Kell, and basically the icon of the universe for the Imperial Guard. And let's be fair, if you're English and you're British and you studied the Second World War, who wouldn't want to be Winston Churchill in space? The one general capable of stopping Abaddon the Despoiler. Me, I'm happy. I loved that job. So I'm going to go with Creed on that front. However, I would love to work within the Inquisition. I think the Inquisition, for as much as I hate what they do, have the most awesome weaponry in the universe. I would love to be able to just pack an Exodus pistol and some sort of amazing Xeno Eldari demony weapon as an Ordo Xenos Inquisitor and just have these amazing weapons at my disposal and be able to basically crush any rebellion under my heel. And have a bunch of acolytes who I could boss about. That would be fun. On a Space Marine front, I would have to go with the Emperor's Champion. I love the Emperor's Champion. I think he is an absolutely awesome guy. And I would love to be that awesome guy who has been blessed by the Emperor himself, or Rogel Dawn himself, with the greatest skill and the sword and the most powerful armor. And I'd love to be that guy. I just hate that he got so nerfed in the Marine Codex, because he got put in the Marine Codex. Alternatively, I want to show you something. This is something that Ben did for me. Actually, he did it for me last night. Oops. And what I want to show you is this. This is Ben doing a custom chapter paint scheme for Tactica Imperialis. Something along the lines of like what Mini Wargaming does with their custom chapter. And I don't know if you can see the image all that well. It's probably reflecting pretty badly. But that is a jump pack captain with a power sword and a grav pistol. Now, I played the 40k video game Space Marine. I played it a lot. I completed it 4 or 5 times. and then my PS3 broke and I had to get a new one, meaning that my game basically just reset. And then my Elite Pass code wouldn't work, so I can't access the multiplayer, which sucks. So I basically fell out of playing the game. Partly because of that, and partly because, well, I just don't have time to play video games anymore. And I always really enjoyed, just if I wanted to take my rage out on the world, I would just load up the jump pack levels with the Thunder Hammer or the Chainsaw and just say, come on then, let's be having you. Whack, smack, chop, pow, all that comic book sound effect nonsense. And I would just, that's what I love, that whole image of Captain Titus blasting about on his jump pack, slamming into the ground and blowing up a bunch of orcs. Yeah. So a jump pack captain, alternatively. Someone like Captain Shrike, possibly, with those lightning claws. Or who can just jump in, bang, 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 blast off, bang on the way out, and then smash back in again, like Captain Titus was able to do. So, either or. So, Creed, Ordo Xenos Inquisitor, Captain Shrike / Captain Titus from the Space Marine games without being arrested and branded a heretic. Don't ask me why that happened. Anyway, so that actually wraps things up. Yeah. So that's actually been about half an hour's worth of questions because I know how to ramble. So thank you for everyone who asked any questions. And if you missed out for whatever reason, or I just couldn't find your tweet because my hashtags were broken, just thank you for taking part or trying to take part. I'm sorry if I did miss anything. And thank you for subscribing, because I wouldn't be doing this Q&A if I didn't have subscribers to do it for. I wouldn't be making videos if I didn't have people to do it for. So, right, with the thank yous out of the way, well, last one, thank you for actually watching this video and listening to me ramble on about me. What I might do this year is, if I can get the technology, I might show you my Horus Heresy Drop Assault base, and I might create my custom chapter so anyone else who's playing the game can come and join me and play alongside me, if you wish. Things I want to do this year. Oh, God. Things I want to do this year. I want to do more fantasy bat reps. I want to try out some new stuff. I want to play 40k Zombies Battle Report. I would like to play Hearthstone on this channel. But a lot of this is dependent on me getting capture technology that works with an iPad, because that's how I play my games. My PC will not run Hearthstone. Don't ask me why. So, yeah, I'd like to branch out a little bit away from 40k almost. Do some other stuff alongside my 40k and fantasy content straight up. But I still want to do loads of battle reports. I want to get people like Rowan involved before we disappear off to university, because he will give me a chance to do a Tyranid battle report. I have yet to play Tyranids with my Imperial Guard. I'm not joking. Bigger bat reps as best we can. So we had a 2,500 for the anniversary bat rep, and I'd like to do more games of that sort of scale, assuming the clock obeys me, that is. And it's 5:05. Right, so I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it, and just thank you for being here, I suppose. And it's snowing again. Oh, fabulous. Right, so thank you for watching this video. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis. Have a great 2015. Hope to be doing another one of these milestone videos very soon, if you guys would be so kind. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all again.